Today's video is going to be a little different than stuff I've done in the past. I'm going to be giving you a tour of the Strand bookstore in New York, which is a very short walk from my office. And then I'm also going to be telling a little story, kind of inspired by Pride Month, which was last month. So I'm behind, I know, but I've been thinking about some things and I wanted to kind of make a video to talk about that. So I've put quite a bit of effort into deciding what to say in this video. I hope you guys will enjoy it, and that's it. So roll the footage. I thought about naming this video something along the lines of why diverse books are important, but frankly that's not a discussion that I'm willing to have at this point. I'm routinely impressed by how beautifully and skillfully people like Monica from She Might Be Monica talk about all the reasons why books with diverse characters are essential to the modern literary landscape. But I'm not here to talk about any of that. Arguments are great, don't get me wrong, especially when you can systematically dismantle all the reasons why someone doesn't agree with your viewpoint. But being a reader, I'm not just swayed by arguments, I'm also influenced by stories, so today I thought I'd share mine. I bought my first gay book, which here means a book with an explicitly gay character and an explicitly gay relationship, because really, if you argue about it, you could say Harry Potter was my first gay book, but that's a topic for another day. So I bought my first gay book on a family vacation to Denver, Colorado. My parents had asked me if there was anything I'd like to do while we were in Denver, and I found out that there was a locally owned bookstore called The Tattered Cover, and so we stopped there during our trip. Now, this was back before Goodreads, before BookTube, before Twitter, so the only way, really, that I found out about new books was by picking it up at the bookstore, reading the inside cover, and deciding whether or not it sounded like something for me. In a sense, life was much simpler back then. What's more, young adult was officially a new genre, so we didn't have designated sections for YA fantasy and sci-fi, or YA romance, or LGBT interest, or anything like that. It was all just thrown together, and you never knew what you'd pick up. So I was browsing the young adult section, or what would nowadays be called the young adult section, and I came across this book called Geography Club by Brent Hardinger. The cover is this sad-looking boy gazing wistfully through a classroom door. I don't really know what drew me to the book besides the fact that I was also a sad-looking boy throughout most of middle school and early high school, but the summary on the inside cover of this book makes it very clear that the main character is gay. Not just curious, not just ambiguous, but definitely gay. I must have been 14, maybe 15 when I picked up this book, and I had never read a book with an openly gay character. Never. I didn't even know they existed, so to be holding a book like that in my hands, it kind of blew my mind. But at the same time, I instantly knew that it was for me. It didn't even matter what it was about, I didn't care. I remember clutching that book for dear life as I brought it up to the register because at that point my parents still paid for my books, really wish that was a trend that had continued longer for them, and I was so worried that my dad or my mom would want to see the book and read what it was about because, you know, sometimes they do that just out of interest. But like I mentioned, basically the first sentence of this book's summary is, Russell is gay, he likes boys a lot. Like, a lot. So if they had picked it up, there was basically no way I could deny knowing what the book was about. This might not seem like a big deal now, but being gay wasn't, and still for the most part, isn't something that I can talk to my parents about. So at age 14 or 15, or however old I was kind of forced to deal with a lot of thoughts and questions and feelings on my own. And so to suddenly have this book about a gay guy in high school find its way into my hands, it felt like a way in which I could finally process these feelings and these things that I just couldn't talk about with anyone. So, flash forward, my parents buy me the book. There was no awful moment where they found out who or what the book was about, and I quickly devoured the book later that evening. I remember holding in tears because this book affected me so deeply. I think I was relieved, actually, to see someone like that written about, to finally understand that I wasn't alone in feeling a certain way or in carrying a particular burden. And if the right book can have that power in the right person's hands, then I honestly don't understand why anyone would ever contest that. I guess this has just been on my mind lately because last month was Pride Month, and I can't help but take a look back and see what life used to be like for me just 10 or so years ago. I definitely don't say this enough, but I'm so incredibly thankful to have found the BookTube community and to be able to talk about life-changing books with so many people every single day. And even though I entered this community as an adult after already dealing with all sorts of drama as a teenager, there are probably people out there watching your videos, watching my videos, who are dealing with stuff in the present, and who need those books right now. And if that's you, then I hope you find the books that speak to you and help you through the difficult times, because when you find a book like that, it feels like finding a friend.